everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's time for another episode recap of this season of Teen Mom 2. So the episode really kicks off with Kail talking to one of her friends about how her and Javi are super back and forth about whether or not they want to get divorced. So she says that it's going to be really difficult, perhaps even more difficult than his deployment, having him back home because she's so used to not having to answer to anybody. She's got a set routine for like the kids and the dog and everything like that. And she doesn't even make any mention of how she might want to give up that routine or incorporate him in it in order to make the transition a little bit smoother for the entire family. There's literally no mention of what she can possibly do to help make this transition a little bit easier. She's just like, it's gonna be so difficult. I don't answer to anyone. I like have everything set. Then we move over into Chelsea's world where her and her friend Brittany drive over to a flower shop in order to get like a nice little bouquet for Aubrey, who's going to be having a recital at school. During the drive, Chelsea has like her drink in one hand, and with the other hand she's fishing around her friend's car and she finds a pregnancy stick and she goes, oh, what's this doing in the car? Did you pee in the car? And she doesn't realize how disgusting the two of them being in her hand at the same time is, and she literally like hangs on to it for a good minute too while talking about it. And I was like, that's nasty, because next thing you know you're gonna be like wiping your nose, you're gonna be texting on the phone like with your little pee hands. Ew, it's just disgusting that she would even touch that. Anyway, they get to the flower shop, they put together a cute little bouquet for Aubrey, and Chelsea gets a text from Adam's second baby mama, Taylor, telling her to bring the camera crews the next time she comes to the gym because she wants to host a press conference airing out Adam's lies. Over in West Virginia, Leah brings little Allie to the doctors, and I have to say she looks really good, healthy, and vibrant in this scene. But unfortunately, we learn that Allie's health is continuing on a downward trajectory. So Dr. Tao tells her, listen, I know that you have her on her wheelchair at school and out and about, but she needs to be on her wheelchair at home as well, because like you guys have said, she's falling like 5 to 6 times a day. Sometimes she's hitting her head, so perhaps even put a helmet on her when she's not in her power wheelchair. And so Leah seems to be on board with following the doctor's orders, but Corey, who she had dialed into the meeting, was pretty much mum about everything. It looks like Barbara is getting to see Kaiser a lot more like she wanted to last season, because as soon as she walked into Janelle's home, Kaiser called her Mimi and jumped up to give her a hug, and I thought that was so cute and good for her because it was something that she really did want. But you guys, I gotta say, Janelle's eyebrows in this scene were frightening. Like, I was looking at my screen like, did someone really do this in the mirror and walk away like, yeah, I look good? Because these were like the craziest little blocky Instagram brows I've seen in my life, and on her to date. So the two of them go over on the porch while David plays daddy to Kaiser as usual, and Barbara remarks at how Beyonce, fuck. And Barbara remarks at how amazing it is that Janelle continuously manages to evade justice. She also tells Janelle that it's really important that Nathan has a relationship with Kaiser because her other son, Jace, his father, Andrew, only has like one photo of himself with Jace, and Jace literally doesn't know who this man is, and Barbara doesn't want that for another one of Janelle's kids. Now it's early in the morning when we see Leah rushing to get the girls off to school as usual. She's running a little bit late this time, but not as much as usual, so it is pretty good in her world. Then we cut on over to Corey and Miranda going fishing. In this scene, we see Corey continue to be in denial about Allie's condition. He tells Miranda that the doctor says that Allie needs to be in her wheelchair pretty much 24/7, but that he's seen so much, you know, improvement in her. He said that like some time ago she couldn't even ride a bike with training wheels, but now she's riding a bike, you know, without the training wheels by herself. And then the conversation kind of steers over into a producer asking Miranda and him why their other daughter, Remy, isn't allowed to appear on the show. And Miranda, being the classy woman that she is, says that Remy is not allowed to be on the show because as her mother, it is her job to protect Remy and her privacy. And because Remy is still a child, she cannot consciously decide that she wants to broadcast herself to millions of people. And so she is going to, you know, reserve that right for her and just keep her out of the public eye, which I thought was both really beautiful and a great little jab at the other women who have all decided to exploit their children for MTV welfare. Now, back in Delaware, Kail introduces us to not one, but 2 brown bays as they come over to her house and listen to her talk about herself and like finishing school or whatever. The camera cuts to her with Isaac in her lap as she's looking at all the courses that she has to complete in order to get this degree in like another room, like, you know, in another enclosed room, while her friends awkwardly just sit there amongst each other on her couch. Anyway, at some point, one of her little French bulldogs pukes, which is probably normal for dogs. Sometimes they puke. I mean, a mother of two, no less, has probably seen a lot worse. So it was kind of weird to me how dramatic she was about the whole thing, like shrieking throughout the house like, you know, the dog just murdered the other dog or something. Anyway, we're back in Chelsea's world where she hits the gym with Taylor. And I am telling you guys, Chelsea actually brought some interesting scenes to this episode. Mercury must be in retrograde because this is a miracle. So after their little workout, the two of them sit down and Taylor just tells Chelsea, listen, I wanted to like talk to you on camera because I want to set the record straight. I'm sick and tired of Adam trying to act like our custody situation is absolutely amazing and 50-50 because it's not. He only has like some sorts of visitation on the weekends and stuff like that. But even then, he doesn't really show up to his visitation with his daughter. Chelsea was like, oh my God, like he is so manipulative. And then she asked Taylor, do you wish that you didn't settle with him out of court? And Taylor says, yes, and I should have listened to you. And Chelsea was really nice about the whole thing. She was like, you know what, like, I know what it's like to be manipulated by him. It took me so long to wake up. I've been there, you know, it's gonna be okay. And it was a really sweet scene between the two of them. Now, Nathan, his man bun, and his friend all go out to a little restaurant to enjoy lunch as Nathan confidently tells him that he's gunning for primary custody of Kaiser and that he's confident he'll get it because he has a lot more to offer Kaiser than Janelle. High chairs and car seats aside. And honestly, in this scene, all I could do was empathize with the judge who had to look at both of these people's records of complete failure and decide which one was the less of two evil to, you know, place this poor, sweet, innocent child with. And, you know, that's all that happened there in Nathan's world. After class, Kail heads over to Jo and V's house to pick up Isaac from them. Apparently they did her a solid by picking him up from daycare or school or whatever while she was busy. And she's really, really thankful to them. They have a nice, soft little conversation about, you know, life in general and how stressed out she is. And once again, she's talking about all this schooling and stuff that she's about to finish, which is great and all, but it's like, it's so awkward watching someone just talk about themselves to literally everyone in their lives. It's, you know, conversations are two ways, you know, ask people how they're doing as well. But guys, I'm not trying to be a shady bitch. I'm just naturally a shady bitch, but is it not tragically ironic how Jo's new fiance V looks exactly, you know, even after having a baby just a few months ago, looks exactly the way Kail is trying to pay money to look, and it's just not working out for her. I personally was like, damn girl, like V, she's got the lips, she's got the tiny little body, like she is doing the damn thing, and here she is feeding her couple months old child, you know, and it's all natural. And speaking of food, Leah still refuses to feed her children actual food. She's talking to her sister Victoria in the kitchen while, you know, the two twins are putting Cheese Whiz on like shitty cheddar crackers. And it was just like a total backwoods mess, this whole entire scene. I did see some apples on the table, but they were in a bag, and I'm assuming that's because Leah just realized that they were not the candied apples that she was promised, and she's gonna be returning them. So, you know, I'm not sure how to feel about that. The two of them just discuss Allie's condition in front of Allie, which is something that she's always criticized Corey for doing. And then it turns out that neither Nathan nor Janelle got primary custody of Kaiser. In fact, it's just joint custody. Nathan was noticeably knocked down a few pegs in terms of cockiness when he was talking to the producer about it, and then Janelle and David went out to lunch, and Janelle continued to air Nathan out. A big reason apparently that he did not get the primary custody he was seeking was because he didn't even have a high chair or like a car seat for his son, which is really odd because this son is like, what, 2 years old or something by now, or really close to it, and you don't have any of these things, but you want to be the primary custodian. Like, if you won, how would you go pick him up from Janelle's house? Are you gonna sit with him on your lap while you drive home? We finally got to catch a little glance of Poppy when he FaceTimed Kail and Lincoln. Lincoln quickly left the scene, and then, you know, he was left to deal with Kail one-on-one himself without a buffer, and she was just so like short and snippy and like confrontational with him about literally nothing. Like, he was just telling her something about like when he was coming home, she's like, you didn't give me an exact date. Why didn't you give me an exact date? He's like, I don't really have one. She's like, okay, bye. What? And then when she talks to the producers, they're like, hey, Kail, do you have like a backup plan in case this doesn't work out when Javi, returns? She's like, I always have a backup plan. And if I don't, I'll figure it out. You guys, I have never in my life witnessed someone so eager to be a single mother. It's like she just like preys on men to get children out of them and not have like their relationship. She's not a person who wants to make relationships work, and that's really sad, especially because, like I said, she's having kids with these men. I found that really pathetic, that scene. Like, she probably thought that she looked like a really strong mother, but to me she looked like a really weak person with no relationship skills whatsoever and no desire to gain any relationship skills either. Later on, we see that Jeremy finally FaceTimes his daughter, Addie, and Addie keeps asking him if he's home, come home. Then she sees Jeremy's girlfriend, Brooke, and then associates that with him being home. So she's like, oh, you're home. And apparently that really broke Leah's heart. But something that was really sad to me was the fact that she just had the camera specifically on Addie. And this is not a fault of Leah. Like, obviously this is the only child, unfortunately, that Jeremy's interested in speaking with, but it's just so sad for the other twins because they kept trying to get in the frame and to talk to Jeremy, who they once called dad as well. But they just couldn't, like he doesn't really have a relationship with him anymore. And I felt really bad for the twins in that scene, you guys. And then the last two scenes of this episode revolve around Janelle and her dysfunction. So in one, we see her with David, and I think she was obviously pregnant in the scene. The way she was huffing and puffing as she was casually walking in the parking garage was really odd. And David just had a full-blown meltdown over the fact that Nathan wanted to work out, seeing Kaiser a little bit while he and Janelle were away on a trip. He was like, you shouldn't make it easy on him. Like, he wouldn't make it easy on you. You can get up and move to frickin' Saskatchewan if you want to. Stop trying to make it super easy on him. And Janelle really stood her ground with him on that, and I was really proud of her for it. And then Nathan finally went over to her house to see Kaiser for a little bit, and it was like a cute little montage of them playing for the cameras. And that was it. That's how the episode ends. I'm curious to see how you felt about this episode of Teen Mom 2. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and as always, we'll chat. You can also like this video, subscribe for more, feel free to share it with your friends, or follow me across social media as well, where I do love chatting with you. That's all for now, and thank you so much for watching.